Hi, everybody. Welcome to 5 Minute Ministries. There's an old saying that says, a bee must go from flower to flower. In our society, and for many years now, people have equated that to the idea that men should have sex with woman after woman after woman after woman. That a man should not be settled on one woman. He is designed by evolution to carry on the species by any means necessary. However, we look at our society today and we see the results of such a philosophy. We see men having several children to several different women, and these men are not involved in any of the children's lives. And if they are, it's very, very minimal. Some of these children don't even know who their real father is. And it's resulted in broken marriages and broken relationships where men and women don't know how to relate to each other. They don't know how to communicate. They don't know how to have a relationship in the first place. Society has been messing things up for quite a while with these philosophies about sex. But God has a different standard. He says to not commit adultery. And of course, the idea is you do not have sex with somebody who is not your spouse. The Bible tells us to flee fornication. That means you don't go around, quote, from flower to flower. You save yourself for your wife, which the next verse tells us that to keep the marriage bed holy. See, at the very beginning, God created one man and one woman. He joined them in marriage and told them to be fruitful and multiply. Sex was designed to be a blessing between a husband and a wife. He didn't create several people and say, well, do whatever you want, figure it out, and fulfill your desires and just be happy. God never said that, and he never will. He does not change his mind on this issue because we see the results of it all. And not even to mention the spread of disease, along with all the other things that I had talked about. Now, people in society don't want what God has said. They especially encourage and expect men to behave in this manner, to go from woman to woman to woman to woman, and fulfill his needs and desires. And even as early as 12, people are encouraging these young children to explore their sexuality. And we see the problems that arises in our young people, in our teenagers and mere children. They're encouraged, explore yourselves, do what you want to do. And we see what has happened with these people. They become adults who do what they want to do, and they end up in a lot of problems. They end up on the court shows, or in courts that aren't on shows. They end up in paternity court. They end up having all these children. They end up in a hospital. And because they don't know how to relate to each other, a lot of abuse mentally, physically, and emotionally happens, and they don't know how to cope with that. They don't understand what it means to be a parent. They don't understand what it means, ultimately, to be a functioning celibate. They don't understand what it means to be a spouse. And we as men are called to set that example. God himself has put that on us men. Now, I said in a previous message to women about the same subject matter that they are to have a standard. But we as men are to set that standard. We are to say, no, I'm not going to jump in bed with you. I'm going to save myself for the woman who will be my wife. Now, we need to stand firm on that. And it will change our society in dramatic ways if we do that. Or dramatic ways, excuse me. Anyway, you know what I mean. Things will get better when the family is stronger. And men, we need to head that up. And it needs to start with our celibacy. It needs to start with our abstinence. And we say, we are going to save ourselves for marriage. Now, if you've had a lifestyle where you went from woman to woman to woman, I would encourage you to stop now and say, no more of that. I'm going to grow with my wife. And the sex will be a tremendous blessing when we do it God's way. If we do it within the confines of marriage, we explore each other as husband and wife. We find out the desires of each other, and we go out of our way to fulfill those desires. It's not about us, it's about our spouse. So, man, I encourage you, if you do it God's way, there will be a big blessing for you. This has been 5 Minute Ministries, and I'll see you next time.